What's going on, Brookie Nation? What's up, everybody? It has been a really long time since you may have heard my voice. I am the Mackie Mouse, and this is the Storybrooke Circus, your Once Upon a Time podcast. It feels really good to say those words again. I have to say, it's been a really long time, and I have missed every single one. I'll be honest. It's been a long time. It really has. There's some explaining to do before we move. We're not just going to jump in and pretend like nothing's happened. It has been 3 years almost to the day when the last episode of this podcast was released. It was something around November, I think 9th or something like that. And so a lot has happened in those 3 years. I mean, I've had a kid, first of all. That's a whole thing, that there's another, human being walking around in my house. Donald Trump has become the president again. The Menendez brothers are in the news again after a very long time. We have had Wicked. The Wicked Part 2 comes out in a little while. We have had, new Avengers movies, Andor Season 2. I mean, just the whole world, basically, right? Looks just completely different than the last time that we got to speak to each other. So, I am very excited to be able to be here and bring the joy that we all share of Once Upon a Time together again. So, you're probably wondering what's happening. So some changes that are happening here. Obviously, it is just me right now. So starting back up, we're gonna try and run this solo and see what happens. Because after 3 years, I was in the Discord and I was like, guys, I miss you. I miss talking to you. I miss talking about this show. It's been a while, so why not just pick it up again? What would it be weird if it was just me talking to a wall by myself? Is really what I was asking. And, some folks had said, not a big deal. So I said, you know what? Screw it. Let's give it a shot. Let's just try, right? So I'm going to try and bring on some guests. Hopefully, I think my wife might join for a little bit. I have a couple friends who I am interested in bringing on the air so that we can talk about it too. So really, join the journey with me. Go on this journey to see if we can make this work. The chance of this becoming the exact same thing that it was before is slim to none, right? I want to make something a little new here. So if you guys are willing to come on this journey to see how weird this can get, honestly, with me just talking to myself, which I do anyway, let's do it together, is all I'm saying. Yeah, you guys down? Oh, please. Everyone sit. It's okay. It's fine. So one of the really exciting things about how I'm doing this right now is, as we speak right now, I am live streaming this recording on Twitch for really absolutely no reason at all. And I have someone who just chatted me for the first time in our chat to say that's so exciting, and I'm here for it. Steph, thank you for being here in the chat. So that will be a new feature. I'm going to do it for as long as I can. I think it's going to make sense to. Why not? Just try and have some fun. So if you catch me streaming, this is not the only thing I stream, of course. I stream some other things, but I'm going to try and, be on recording on stream. And if you want to join in while I'm recording, and you guys can be my guests, my co-hosts, if you will, of the show live on the air, then I will be on twitch.tv/Mackie Mouse Media for now, because I don't have a separate stream for just the show, because we just came back today. Let's take it slow. Let's take it one thing at a time. First of all, I didn't mention in the beginning because I'm terrible at hosting again and I forgot how to do this. Happy Halloween, everybody. It's spooky season. It's spooky season. I hope you're safe, and I hope you're having an enjoyable time with family and such. Obviously, Halloween being known as it's the time when you spend with your family. I don't know. I'm just saying things. So some of the other things that are happening now, right? We used to listen to the episode on the air. Not going to do that this go around. I'm trying to streamline things. We're going to change it up a little bit. So let me know how this goes. But instead, it's going to become like a little bit of a pseudo review mixed with like trivia and some notes. And so there'll be some very familiar things that we're going to do in here. But we're going to mix up the format just a little bit. The first thing is not going to really be doing too much like Storybrooke Daily Mirror right away. We're going to ease into it and see if you guys are wanting to chat and you're wanting to do some more voicemails and things and texts and such. We can certainly explore that. But also since we've been gone, Patreon's down. The phone number is no longer active. We're really starting kind of from scratch here. I'm reinventing the whole thing, right? So it's a new chapter. It's a new chapter in as Brookies together that we can do. So this is uncharted. It's uncharted territory, and I really am serious. I truly do have to remember like how to host a show again, and I don't have anybody to tell me that I'm doing it wrong or to guide me on the straight and narrow. So you have like unhinged Mackie who's just gonna wing it. That's what we're gonna do right now. Okay. So first and foremost, thank you guys for your continued use of the Discord. You guys had really stuck around for a while. I know obviously it petered off. There wasn't a lot to talk about after, but there's still people in there. I went in there just to say hi and reintroduce this idea. And there were people who definitely came in and said, I'm interested. So we are definitely going to launch the Discord so that we can start using it. And again, I don't know. It'll become whatever a new version of our community is. But honestly, this community meant a lot to me and always has. And so I thought, why not bring it back? And let's just see what happens. So without further ado, we will get into a little bit of our pre-show. So first of all, this is also another crazy thing. We left off at season 3, episode 16. We're in the middle, in the trenches, okay? So the crazy thing is, I didn't go back and watch all 16 of those episodes again, okay? So I went to watch the episode we're going to review today because we're going to jump right into it. We're not going to do like an intro episode and then maybe later on you'll get another. We're going to start right now. That's going to be my Halloween gift to you, is get a little witchy with Once Upon a Time. The problem is I don't remember what the heck was going on, to be perfectly honest with you. I started watching it and I was like, where are we? What's happening? So this episode, and maybe for the rest of this season, this might actually turn out to be Mackie tries to remember what the hell is happening in season 3 and maybe all of everything that we've watched up until now, because it's been 3 years since the last episode, but it has been even more since I've seen season 2 and season 1. So not only bear with me, but it might be a little funny that, so feel free to make fun of me, guys, that I don't remember what's happening. And so my review is going to reflect the fact that a lot of it is going to be me talking about like, what the heck is going on? I don't remember what these details are. I'm just jumping in the deep end, and we're going to see how it goes. And so I thank you for joining this journey with us. With me, I have to say me because it's just me. Thank you for joining the journey on this Once Upon a Time train we're on. We're going to have the same fun sound effects like such.
Thank you for being a friend.
Because I indeed do. Thank you for being a friend of the show. So since we're not watching the show on the air, I would recommend you either watch the show beforehand and then we'll kind of review it together. We had always said spoilers are going to happen on this, so we're not going to hold back from that. And I'm going to do the same. I'm not going to hold back unnecessarily from the spoiling the episode. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend watching it after, but if you've seen the show before and you want to like listen to this podcast and review and then go watch the episode and see all the things that I'm talking about, you'll see during our production notes section that there are some fun things to pick out in the show while you watch it. And so sometimes that's fun as well. So yeah, I guess I've been rambling for long enough. So let's just jump in and let's see exactly how this goes. So Gonna do a little pre-show. We're gonna keep that. We're gonna have our show info section, and then we're gonna talk about some behind-the-scenes things that I wanted to pick out for you, and things that we can either look out for, or if you have already watched the episodes, if you want to go back and watch it, or things that we can pluck out as trivia. So this is season 3, episode 17, called The Jolly Rodger. I really, really love the Jolly Rodger as a ship. I was always a really big Peter Pan fan. So I was really excited when I saw this, and I realized like the last episode was a heavy Zelina episode, and it was a lot of, like Wizard of Oz things going on. That's as far as I kind of like remember and looked up. The character backstory on this particular episode that we're jumping back into is both Hook and Ariel backstory. The premiere date was April 13th, 2014, which means it was over 10 years ago, which is wild. The viewers, since I really loved looking at the viewership from episode to episode and how that may or may not have changed based on the promo, or like how, the episodes were received. This one this week was 6.5 million viewers on episode 17 here. It was written by David H. Goodman, and David H. Goodman is one of the executive producers on the show. So we have a seasoned vet here to weigh in on this story. And it was directed by Ernest Dickerson. And one of the things I really loved about our old format was finding the patterns with directors. Being able to see repeat directors. I did happen to listen to a little bit of the very last episode that we released, where it was like Mario Van Peebles, for whatever reason, was the director of the last episode. So we're gonna keep the show info, and we're gonna, see if we can find some more patterns. But now I have to start over because I don't remember what the patterns are. I just remember that David H. Goodman is the executive producer, but like I don't remember how often we're seeing the same writing and directing duos or team. So we're definitely gonna try a little bit of that too. So what is it that we're talking about in this episode? So here's the synopsis of the episode that you either have seen or are about to see. So Ariel returns to Storybrooke and pleads with Hook to help her find Prince Eric, who never returned to the town when the new curse was invoked. Time out. New curse. I didn't remember it. Like, I know this is past Pan. I know that there's something going on. I'm like, it's almost like I've never watched Once Upon a Time. I'm like, I know the characters, but what the heck is happening? So I'm going to like reverse engineer this. We're going to go backwards and we're going to figure out between episodes. Maybe I'll do a little bit of research and figure out what's happening. But this is how we run the show. And I don't know. We'll just go with it.
Bing bong.
Anyway, so Emma agrees to let Regina teach her how to use magic so that she can help defeat Zelina, and Mary Margaret and David try to prove that they can be just as much fun as Hook is with Henry, who thinks they are very boring. Meanwhile, in Fairy Tale Land during the past year, an angry Ariel confronts Hook over her missing Prince Eric, who she assumes was kidnapped and possibly killed by the swarthy pirate. But when Hook confesses that the Jolly Rodger has been stolen and Eric is most likely the thief's prisoner, Ariel unknowingly provides him with a clue as to who the culprit is, and Hook, with Ariel in tow, goes off in search of his ship, which is why the episode is called The Jolly Rodger, because that is infamously Hook's ship. So I was reading the synopsis and I'm like, man, diving directly back into the middle of something is just so unhinged, which obviously, if you are a longtime listener of the show, unhinged is kind of this show's middle name, right? This is going to be a different kind of unhinged because it's just me talking to myself. I don't know what that means, but we're going to do it together. So if you like unhinged, this will probably be for you. If you don't, I don't know what to tell you because this is going to be a little wild, or maybe boring. I don't know. I'm giving myself maybe too much credit that it'll be unhinged because being unhinged on your own is a little difficult. But we'll see if I can live up to the reputation. Does anybody remember what's next in the show? If you have listened to us before, the next section is affectionately called Production Notes. Production Notes. So if you, I don't know why on earth you would jump into episode 64 of something. Did I even mention this is episode 64? I think I'm a bad host. I'm pretty sure I didn't mention that this is episode 64. So if you, I don't know why you wouldn't know me, but if you don't, I do have a past in television production, in film production. I used to work in New York City in both. I have done several roles on sets. I've done post-production work. So production notes is sort of my love letter to the industry of filmmaking. There are a lot of really, really fun things, trivia, kind of techniques of making TV shows and films that I think are really interesting. And I think that's one of the heartbeats of this show, of the Storybook Circus, where we take a little peek behind the curtain as to how things are made, or go through the process of what ideas they had and what ended up actually becoming on the screen. Because I am a child of the 80s and 90s when, I don't know if you guys remember this, and tell me if you do, the behind the scenes and like making the video and making of movies and things were really popular, especially in the 90s. Of like, there was a big boom of how our TV shows and movies made. So they used to make a lot of documentaries and making of series released with DVDs and with videos as to like how this stuff is actually made, right? One of the ones I always remember as a kid is James Earl Jones narrating the making of Jurassic Park, the first Jurassic Park. And I like fell in love with this style of like explaining all the ins and outs of how, this beautiful end piece of art ends up getting made. So production notes is a little bit of a love letter to that. Sometimes it's really silly and ridiculous because, not every single episode is a winner, but I do have some notes to share with you on this particular episode, on episode 17. So every single production notes opens up with what thing is featured in the title card. So this title card features David's truck, which is an interesting choice because when I first watching this, again, I'm still rolling back into where are we in the world and in the storyline. So I'm like, David's truck is kind of a weird, boring thing. It's actually really funny why it's David's truck, which we'll talk about later when we review the episode. But we'll jump right into some of these notes. So there was a few abandoned ideas. One of them I'm going to wait to talk about once we actually review the episode, because it's during a particular scene that is both impressive and also a little bit weird. But the first two we can do are pretty easy. So after Hook lost the Jolly Rodger, the show writers originally considered having him like use another ship in order to go find it. It was eventually decided that he and his crew instead would become land pirates. And I was like, excuse me, what does that mean? And we are going to find out in the very first scene of the episode exactly what we're talking about here, but that was an abandoned idea that the writers originally had. I do, though, like that they stayed true to like he wouldn't really be pirating another ship. Like the Jolly Rodger is a part of Hook's core, character. So I like that we didn't betray that, with this idea. But the next one is the scene where Ariel attacks Captain Hook outside the tavern. Was originally supposed to take place later in the episode, but then it was moved to the beginning of the episode during editing. It's like one of the first scenes that we see, which I really like because it sets those stakes really, really high. And it would have been kind of weird if we had like waited to see what the conflict was going to be later in the episode. Ooh. Breaking news straight from the chat in the live stream. Production notes was honestly so great for some of the episodes as we went along. For sure, appreciate that you kept it. Thank you, Steph. Yeah, production notes that is at my heart and soul. I am a nerd, and in case you haven't figured it out by the last, how long have we been on the air right now? 20 minutes. I love to talk a lot. So hey Bubbles, how's it going? I do really enjoy trivia. I love educating people and sharing the things that I know about stuff. So yeah, production notes is definitely that's a Mackie invention. Anyway, okay, so the next abandoned ideas we're going to talk about when we review the episode. We're going to keep moving on. Joanna Garcia Swisher, that's who the actress who plays Ariel, who I adore. She had apparently never slapped anyone on screen before. So towards the end of the episode, there's a moment where she has to slap Hook. So in that scene, Colin Donahue had basically told her, just let it ride, go for it. So at one point during filming, when she was doing it, apparently she slapped him on the neck instead of the face, which I think is hilarious. Because if you ever watch someone like do something tentatively, it's just really funny how like watching them potentially fail at it because they're not like giving it their all. So for her to like really have this dramatic moment where she has to slap Hook and then slaps him on the neck because she's too nervous is just so funny. Nope, you couldn't make it. Didn't do it. So we'll get there when we review the episode. We have a hidden details here. Hangman's Island is this is the location where Eric is supposedly, allegedly, imprisoned by our main villain of the episode, which I don't want to spoil because I just realized that we haven't said his name yet, so it's kind of fun and exciting. Actually, we're going to later. I'm just realizing it's going to be later in the production notes. So anyway, it's Blackbeard. That's who it is, in case you're spoilers. So it is apparently a real world location near Boston, which I didn't know. Hangman's Island. So there's a little hidden detail. This episode reveals what happened to Hook during the last year. So this is the place where you guys have to help me out. I have to remember what is going on. So there's like a year gap. I remember there was a thing going on in New York and I know Zelina like cursed them and people are like, don't have memories of things and they're being really weird about Henry and his memories. But I'll be honest, it is kind of fun but very strange. Like I really don't remember what the details of this are. So I'm just kind of rolling with it. I'm just kind of like, I'm like, as they are mentioning things in the episode, I keep going, I guess I'll find out about that later at some point, exactly, what was going on. Sorry, this is live, but I'm fixing my camera because it's wrong. This is what happens when you film a show live. I know anyone listening to the audio version of this podcast is like, we don't care what you're doing with your silly video nonsense. Anyway, what happened? It reveals what happened to Hook during the last year, what he's been keeping from Emma, which like, I don't really think it does that. I think that's going to be the next episode. But anyway, it's something that was alluded to in New York City Serenade and The Tower. Those are two episode names. Again, I used to be able to like pluck out like, oh yeah, that's episode 10 because I had it all in my head. It's all gone. Starting completely over from scratch. You know when you like lose your save point in a game and you have to like start the either whole game or the episode or the chapter or whatever over again, that level. That's what I feel like right now. I feel like I lost all of my RPG things. I lost all my hearts and my coins and all my things, and I have to like start from scratch. Okay, so get back on track. Hold on. The tavern. This one's really cool. Okay, the tavern where Hook and his crew celebrate. This is at the very beginning of the episode. This happens to be the same tavern, so in universe. It's the same tavern where Cora used to work as a waitress several decades prior to this time period. And the flute music that was playing in the tavern, this is crazy. It's like it's in all these episodes. This flute music is also played in the tavern that Anton visits in Tiny, which is another great like Lost reference. Because the character who plays, or the actor who plays Tiny is Hugo from Lost. The tavern where Emma meets past Hook and Snowdrifts. The tavern where Cora is working that we just mentioned and bleeding through. Robin Hood's tavern in Heart of Gold. The Wish Realm tavern where Wish Hook meets Captain Ahab in Nightfall. I think that's future stuff. In the Fish and Bird tavern in the new Enchanted Forest in Breadcrumbs. And also in the tent camp that Snow White visits in Heartless. Guys, what a great job from this team. Just like, this is going to be the flute music of taverns in this show. That's how we're going to do this. So yeah, there was a lot of like cool continuity pieces there that they spelled out for us. So hidden details. Let's see. We got some more. When Regina shows Emma roots of incantation from Cora's spellbook, 2 of the pages are the same ones that Mr. Gold was reading in Going Home. There is a really, really funny moment with this book because the book is in Elvish. Let's back up for a second. There's a lot of people who would refer to this show as a Disney fairy tale show because it was on ABC, right? And they associated Disney with this show. When realistically, it's not really the Disney characters. Yes, like Ariel and Hook and Peter Pan and Snow White. Those are all Disney characters. But really, this show, in fact, is a love letter to fairy tales in general, of which Walt Disney, took a lot of those fairy tales and created these beautiful stories out of. But it's all of the fairy tales, right? So like, because like Disney didn't create The Little Mermaid, like Hans Christian Andersen did, right? And the Brothers Grimm and like all these things. So I really do like the fact that the book writing is in Elvish, which is, it's still sort of a mystical fantasy, fairy tale from Tolkien of The Lord of the Rings. So it's not this like exclusively Disney thing. It's really like fairy tales and folklore in general. But there's a really funny moment later on with they make a point to point out the fact that it's in Elvish, and it's a great Regina Emma moment, which we will get to later. Next. So when Emma sees Ariel and Eric through the mirror, the couple reenacts the beach scene from The Little Mermaid. And I'll tell you this, I didn't notice this when I first watched the episode. I watched it in like 2 pieces, and so I forgot about this production notes note. But now that I think about it, they sure do. It's literally like her running up to him and him picking her up and spinning her around, and she's in that same dress, which I think is a really nice, that's a really nice touch. A little Easter egg there. Okay, so this episode features the like master villain of the ocean, of the seas, and especially in the Caribbean, Blackbeard. So Blackbeard is an infamous English pirate who is the figure most often associated with the golden age of piracy in the Caribbean. Blackbeard is the only character in the series to be adapted from an actual historical person, because Blackbeard was a real pirate that people used to write about, and obviously it was dramatized later on. But he's in a lot of video games and a lot of movies, and Blackbeard was one of the most kind of feared pirates, and a lot of our pirate archetypes: the peg leg, the pirate on the shoulder, the patch on the eye, and the R, talking. A lot of that came from Blackbeard and his crew. That was sort of the genesis of what we know of today as the archetype of a pirate. So it's really exciting that Blackbeard gets to be included here in interface with Hook. There's a really cool scene between the two of them later in the episode. They get to fight. So we'll review that soon. All right. So while filming the scene where Hook re-enters the tavern after his encounter with Ariel, Colin O'Donoghue accidentally kicked the door so hard that it broke. And it happened not once, but 2 times. Which is just fantastic. That honestly, I love times where actors like break things on set. I hate it for the set dressers and set designers, because of course they have to go fix it. But if you guys have ever seen the scene or bloopers from Parks and Recreation where Chris Pratt throws the suitcase against the wall and it shatters the light switch, it is one of the most funny moments and then like they didn't know it shut the lights off. It did all these things. And I really, really enjoy those like kind of mishaps on set. All right. So while shooting the scene, I assume this is Christopher Gauthier, who plays Smee, would use his axe to chop at the trees between takes. However, since the prop was made of plastic, he ended up taking a chunk out of his axe, which I assume is like not captured in the episode. But I think it's still funny that like he was like a real life pretend lumberjack for some reason. I just think it's funny. And also they kept referring to, like, side note, they kept referring to Smee used to be a rat or something. And I don't remember that in the episode at all. And they keep referring to it in the episode. And I'm like, was that last episode? Was it like, there were just so many moments where I was just like, I really need to go back and do like a recap or something and figure this out. All right, last hidden details before we move on to one of my favorite segments during production notes. Hidden details. As Hook leaves the loft, and I did clock this one, he has his arm behind his back so that Henry is not able to see his hook, which again is alluding to some weirdness going on with Henry and his memory. I think it's that Henry doesn't remember that they're fairy tale characters and thinks they're all just regular people, but all of the characters remember they're fairy tale characters, I think. I'm assuming. So yeah, so I'm assuming like if he saw a guy that looked like Captain Hook from the stories, it would like throw off stuff or I don't know. I mean, I'm still piecing it together. Okay, so guys, this has always been my favorite part of production notes because it is the stupidest joke and bit I've ever made up. This is a section where I give you the red carpet, if you will, the rundown of the clothes and the brands that the characters are wearing in the show. And this section is called Brand Info. We do it to this beautiful, light elevator music that's very calming and I adore. Okay, so first bit of brand info. Mary Margaret is wearing a Club Monaco tippy denim dress, first of all, that is no longer available, sadly. Emma is wearing a Pierre Balmain cropped double-breasted Gillette, one of those, over a Maxwell NSF Rhodes shirt in plaid, and they are both no longer available. Very sad. Pulled right off the rack. More brand info. Regina is wearing an Andrew Mark black leather London 25 belted oversized collar jacket. There could not be more adjectives to describe these clothes in brands. Andrew Mark black leather London 25 belted oversized collar jacket. Oof. She also wears this same jacket in Snowdrifts, There's No Place Like Home, and in the season 4 premiere, A Tale of Two Sisters. Wonderful. Belle is wearing a red Valentino white jersey t-shirt with lace detailing, also no longer available. I have never heard of a jersey t-shirt sound more fancy than in this case. Good on you, Belle. It's a t-shirt, but man, is she fancy. Ariel is wearing a Bobaton Pierce wool coat in constant camel, I'm assuming is a color. Note that the coat has been shortened by the costume department. They felt it very necessary to to put in the brand info, let you know that coat was shortened. It's very super important. Anyway, brand info, dumbest bit I do. In case you're wondering, what are the things they wear? There you have it. All right. Okay, so the last bit we have here, the scene where David and Mary Margaret find Ariel was filmed on a closed set on the third beach in Vancouver's Stanley Park. So we have talked previously about the fact that Vancouver is a very popular place for recording basically in LA to happen because there's a lot of areas of Vancouver that look like sets, right? They look very like film setty, basically. A lot of places that can double for LA and Vancouver is directly north of, it's like right above, Seattle. So it's easy to just like kind of travel straight north into Canada. So yeah, apparently Vancouver's Stanley Park is where that closed set was. This beach also doubles as Hangman's Island for the scene at the end when Ariel and Prince Eric are reunited. Now, that is not the only place where it's reused. This is awesome. As a recycled set, this is the same beach that was used to film the scene where Emma and Neil ran into Tamara in the season 2 episode, Second Star to the Right. By the way, guys, I do remember Greg and Tamara, but man, I have all these memories came flooding back. I'm like, ugh, Tamara. I was like, it's just amazing how it all comes back sometimes. And so it's also used again in the scene where Elsa is reunited with her sister Anna. We haven't seen these episodes yet, the Frozen episodes, in the season 4 episode Fall. So those are some places where in this show, where we will see that beach come up again. But one of the things I put in here purely because it is a fandom of mine. If you guys are familiar with the Arrowverse, so it's Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, Flash, Supergirl, Superman and Lois, Constantine, a couple other things. So apparently the Flash episode called Tricksters, this is the same beach that they featured on that episode. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Tricksters is an episode that contains Mark Hamill, famously Luke Skywalker from Star Wars, and even more famously as the voice of Joker, as a very like Joker-like character in in this episode, in the Trickster's episode. He plays like a kind of kooky Joker, master criminal, and it's same voice and everything. So I know you probably guys don't care about Arrow or Flash, but whatever. I am the one with the microphone, so I'm gonna say whatever I want. Here we are. Oh boy. All right. So that was production notes.
Hey, I like it, Picasso.
Nope, that's not the one.
Production notes.
That's the one. Production notes. Great. Okay. So it's like riding a bike, guys. You just get back on and you just feel it. Your body just does it, right? The next section after production notes that we review is a section affectionately called What's in the Hatch. What's in the Hatch is where I talk about Lost connections. Lost is a show that shares executive producers and show writers and stuff with Once Upon a Time, Damon Lindelof and a few others. So they very occasionally will, put in some random things, McCutcheon, whiskey, fake from the Lost World, and, some actors that cross over from each. And in this case, it is in fact an actor who was on both. This episode marks the debut of Charles, I want to say Major, as Blackbeard, the character who plays Blackbeard on Lost. He portrays Brian. Does anyone raise your hand if you remember who Brian is? No? Okay, Brian is Shannon's sleazy boyfriend that Boone has to come in and beat up to take her out, and that's when they have their weird freaky sibling love affair or whatever. So the sleazy boyfriend is Charles Major, the actor who plays Blackbeard. So welcome to the team, I guess. I don't know which one happened first, but anyway, now is the time where, this is where we used to watch the episode, but since we're not going to do that anymore, what we're going to do, and it's going to be a little different, is I have already previously watched the episode, and so I'm going to essentially do a live review of the episode scene by scene. And the things that I kind of pointed out, and you can feel free to do the same. One thing that is not down, that is still running, is the email, which we'll give at the end of the episode. So if you would like to at least email in your thoughts, there is a place to do that, and obviously also the Discord. So if you'd like to do a similar review, again, I don't know what's going to happen. We're going to see how this goes. But let's get into it. All right, I don't have background music or anything because that would be really long. That's just me thinking out loud. Never mind. it's fine. It's
Thank you for loving me. Thank you for being there.
Oh God.
Let's just level set there. Okay, so I'm gonna break it up the way that TV shows break it up, since we are a TV show podcast, in acts. So there are 6 acts and an opening teaser. So in the opening teaser, the first thing that we see, of course, is David's truck in the, well, that's not true. Sorry. The teaser then leads into David's truck. But the first thing that we see is a very intimidating knight in the middle of a road. And let me tell you, this is what my notes say, verbatim. It says, digging this knight guy. I was like, wow, coming back into this after such a long time, I really don't know what's going on, but I'm feeling it. So listen. It turns out that this knight was our boy Hook, but I did not recognize his voice. I'm actually quite curious if he is the one that voiced it underneath, because we are very familiar with what Colin O'Donoghue's voice sounds like, especially in that character as Hook. And this did not sound anything like him. So I was like, ooh, I'm going to get introduced to a character right now. Like, what's going on? It turns out it was Hook. And this is what they met. They're like weird highway robbers. But this is my first introduction back after a very, very long hiatus. And I didn't have any idea what was happening. I was like, okay, he's talking to Smee. He's referencing a curse. So this must be this is like fairy tale land. But it was a journey for me. Okay. So anyway, there's, they go into the tavern, right? And that's the tavern we talked about is the one that everybody shares, and they're like all cheering and everything. Then there's this really creepy exchange of what is clearly a call girl that they are like got for Hook. And I was like, weird. This is like, it feels like it doesn't age well. Bubbles in the live stream says Colin O'Donoghue more like Zeddy. Accurate. Very accurate. It feels appropriate to debut a new sound effect that I have, just because I'm immature. I feel like that's the sound I'm gonna make when we're like oogling a character. We're like, wow, that person's hot. That's what I'm gonna. That's gonna be the. Well, you know, we always had this one.
If you feel things getting sexual, just say, shut it down.
Shut it down. Okay, I'm sorry. I am sorry. Anyway, okay. So this creepy exchange with the call girl is very strange. Then they go outside and you get this like little sliver of Hook being a good guy. He like pays her and she's like, no, they already paid. Don't worry. And he's like, yeah, you're going to tell everyone we had a great time. Go away. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like we got this, you know, Hook's not like a complete fiend. I already am liking that. And then Ariel pops up out of nowhere, just the absolute feistiest, doing the most. Like it was, and I loved every second of it. I was like, ooh, Ariel's like really standing up for herself, and she's like holding him hostage. And so we really kind of don't know what's going on. So you know, we're already into the mystery piece of the whole thing. Let's see. We got another chatter on the stream. Let's see if I can pronounce this right. Zephyronicus? Did I get that right? Please tell me how to pronounce that name. I see I'm going to have to rewatch a lot of UOAT to catch up for your next episode. You better believe it. That is definitely something I would recommend you do. Yeah, I nailed it. Everyone cheer for me. If you're in your car, clap. Like with one hand. Don't crash your car. Clap for me if you're listening to this. Anyway. Okay, so yeah, please do watch. The next episode is going to be fun because maybe I'll actually know what the heck is going on and not whatever this episode is, because this is terrible. Anyway, we're going to pretend it's not. Okay, so Hook's Ariel's, honestly, my last note on the teaser says, ooh, Ariel's feisty and I like it. Haha, and there's nothing after it. And there's something that I'm remembering that I wanted to talk about and I don't see it in my notes. So I hope it happens later in the episode and there's notes on it somewhere. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, if not, I'll go back to it. So then we go into, now we're in Act 1. Here is a bit that we didn't have before because we watched the episode live that I am going to share with you now. Every time we have an act, which is essentially a commercial break, right? I'm going to go through everything that happens in that act, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to name the act with the kind of what I think is appropriate for like something funny that happened or like what really makes up that act for me. Like what's the best, kind of little hook on it. Think of it like chapter titles. Like we're going to write the chapter first and then we're going to name it and say what it's called. And I encourage you, if you'd like, you can do that as you watch and we can share it in the Discord and stuff too. Okay. So Act 1, I'm going to reveal what my title is when we're done. First we have this crib scene. So we're home. I don't remember if this is Emma's home or if this is, David and Mary Margaret's home, but it's home base. Let's call it that. It says 9 months later is what this says. So I'm starting to piece together a timeline here, but we go, all right, 9 months later. They're putting together a crib. I am remembering now that our lovely, we affectionately and jokingly, but mostly affectionately call Guinea Good. Everybody give it up for Guinea Good, okay? Jennifer Goodwin on the Storybrooke Circus, we affectionately call Guinea Good. Guinea Good was pregnant during season 3 and 4, I think. She was in real life pregnant. And so they wrote it into the show that she's having a baby. And I'm remembering just how much I freaking love her and Josh, her husband, who plays David, because they are a real life couple and the baby is the two of theirs and they play two characters who also is having a bit. I don't know. I just love the whole synergy of the whole thing. So just watching them put this crib together and in the most David and Mary Margaret way, right? Like I love this like misdirection of the writing. Like he mentions like, I've had battle plans that I understand better than these crib instructions, which is just which like, it's cool. It reminds us that at his heart, David is a soldier from the Enchanted Forest. You know what I mean? Like he that's what he was. He was like captain of the army or whatever. So like just like it's cool to remember that he approaches things from this slightly militaristic standpoint, right? Like horses and cavalry and stuff. But I this is my next bullet, reads like this. I'm reading it from the screen right now. Honestly, I had to stop here because I missed these characters so much, just so much. And I'm such a big fan. Like, we are in such big fans in this house, because since the show has been off the air, since I have a kid now, we watch a lot of Zootopia. So I just cannot unhear Judy Hopps trying to plan out their next move to defeat Zelina and Gold. And it just brings me so much joy. So I'm this one's out for not just Skinny Good, but David, Mary Margaret, and Emma. I just being reintroduced to these characters that we loved so much and interacted with for so long. I don't know. It's just making me really nostalgic. It's making me really happy that I decided to just go ahead and bring this back, because I feel like this is going to be a really fun experience for all of us. I know I'm getting really sappy, but and what can I say? I missed you guys. What's next? So, because I did do that, by the way. I hard stopped the episode and was like, oh yeah, I remember how much joy this really brought us as a community, all of us together. I said, what did I say here? I got to be honest, not going to lose another baby. WTF. I'm going to have to remember what this is. I have a lot of catching up to do. I just started so confused. So I don't remember what I guess she stole the baby, right? Zelina or something. I sound like such a doofus being the podcast of a show I don't know anything about. I'm like, it's fine. Let's see. Little Z's and me in the stream says, loved all these characters so much, going to rewatch. Look, I've been here for 45 minutes and I'm already seeing people who are saying that they're going to start again rewatching Once Upon a Time, and it makes me so happy. I am not going to apologize for spamming this clapping sound effect because I'm just feeling very clappy right now. Next up, I wrote, and I quote, "Enter my queen, Lana." Again, just seeing I understand now when people go to like theater, why they just explode into applause when their favorite character like comes out, or an actor, like when Leslie Odom Jr. came back to Hamilton right now, like, and everybody's just roaring with applause. I get it now, because like seeing these people after so long, I'm just like, man, this is just such a fun experience. So she enters just on 100 right away. She comes in just starting to zing everybody, which is so funny. The funniest part of this scene, which honestly, this doesn't end up being the act title, but it really should have been. The funniest thing about this entire scene is Lana Parrilla playing Regina. She says to the team, "The number of spells involving baby parts would surprise you." They were nervous about what's the problem that Zelina has the baby. And she's like, "The number of spells involving baby parts is alarming." I thought it actually made me laugh out loud at my computer because it was so funny. I just love her delivery of it. So then Emma basically says to Regina in classic TV show form, Emma says, "Okay, so why don't you just train me how to use my magic?" So again, this is me now remembering, okay, I guess they know that Emma sort of has magic, but clearly she doesn't know how to use it yet. So in classic TV show form, Regina goes, "Bet, let's go right now and go learn." I'm like, whoa, it felt so abrupt. My next bullet says, hearing Emma say, "I have magic too," all caps. Guys, I'm lost. Sometimes I feel like I'm going to publish my notes because it's just so funny watching the progression of me just not having a handle on on any of this, being like, should I restart this show? Because I feel not qualified, to be perfectly honest. So the last bullet that I have is, haha, David and Snow are boring, because the whole punchline here is them basically saying, all you guys are going to talk about is you guys being old pregnant people, and Henry doesn't want to hang out with you guys. You're boring. It was just such a weird, like, it felt like a sitcom subplot. I mean, I didn't hate it, but it was just like, it was really funny that was their whole purpose for being in the scene, was so that they could be like old grandparents, even though they're like young and in their 30s, but they're everybody's grandpa. Like, I don't know. It just made me chuckle. So we're not out of the act yet. We're just moving on to another scene. We're on the dock. My first note says in all caps, "Why does Hook have a hand?" He has like a glove with a hand on, and I'm like, I again don't remember why. Like, why doesn't he have a hook? I don't know what's happening. And then I wrote like, yeah, I guess he remembers his old life or something. I'm gonna have to do some research. So this dock experience, I forget who he's talking to. I think it's Emma. Because Emma goes to him because she needs Hook to watch Henry, because Hook is the better babysitter than Grandma and Grandpa, because he's so exciting. We just have this sort of kind of a moody, Hook going on. I was just so distracted by not knowing what was going on that it was hard to follow. We then go to a beach where David and Emma are like walking along the beach, and they're being weird about being as fun as Hook is. And they're just like, we're fun. Aren't we fun? It was like, again, we're just like really doubling down on this. We're not as fun as he is. Let's see. Bubble says, I think he got it back from Gold. I guess. I mean, again, I really just don't know. I'm excited to find out, to be honest. So David and Emma are being, sorry, that's not Emma. David and Mary Margaret. I wrote that wrong. David and Mary Margaret are being weird about not being as fun as Hook. But as they listen to this, as they approach, I think it's like the truck or they're approaching, there's all these whispers and voices. And I swear, even though it's not pointed out in the What's in the Hatch section, that is a lost reference to the others, because in the others, or in Lost, the others are these like characters on the other side of the island that intimidate, the beach lost people by whispering in the trees. That's like a whole thing about, their, and it's like this very mysterious, mystical entity out there, and it turns out it's people. So, but the whispers, it felt the same way. There's no way that that's not a reference to Lost, because the whispers are like a whole thing. And that definitely like rang a bell for me. Oh, I know what it was. They were approaching a crowd on the beach. And there's all these, and I think it's supposed to be like the whispers of the people who are like hovering around someone who's on the ground. But it just gave me immediate Lost flashbacks. So then we get this amazing aerial reveal where it's literally, I don't have like, bum, bum, bum. Like I don't have that sound effect on my deck, but that's what it feels like. It definitely felt like this, like very dramatic, like everyone's like whipping their head around and being like, oh my God, Ariel. And again, I was like, didn't she already? I don't know. I thought they already knew that she was there, but they're like, Ariel, what are you doing here? So I wrote, like kind of confused about the timeline. Like where the heck was the flashback that we saw that was 9 months earlier? Is that the Enchanted Forest? Is it here? What's going on? So I just wrote, I guess she's been missing or something. We'll find out. That is the end of Act 1. We move on to Act 2. But before we do, Act 1 is called, Hook is more fun than David and Mary Margaret. But really, it should have been called The Number of Spells Involving Baby Parts would surprise you. That is Act 1. All right, now we are entering Act 2. So you got to hit your first commercial break. And now in Act 2, we have the flashback again. Ariel is just... Joanna Garcia Swisher is the perfect casting for Ariel. So good. I just looked at her face and I'm like, you are Ariel. Like the hair, the everything, the shape of her face. She just feels like this partially like, like growing, like emotionally growing girl, but also she feels young. She still feels like I don't want to say whiny, like a lot of people attribute the Disney Little Mermaid Ariel as being a very like kind of whiny preteen, but I can see this is like the older version of that. I don't know. There's something about the way that her voice, the way that she's talking, her carriage and everything. It's a very confident Ariel though, which I really like. So here's the thing I wanted to talk about in the teaser. It wasn't in the teaser, it was here. Isn't that crazy? So Zeph Veronica says, oh, I forgot she was Ariel. Okay, so here's the cool thing is if you want to remember, there was Joanna Garcia Swisher was in a weird show that was short-lived. And I don't remember, our old episodes were so long ago. I don't remember if I talked about this. Surely I have, because I'm obsessed with her. So the first time we ever see her, I probably mentioned this, but she was in a show called Privileged. It was I forget what channel it was on, but it was basically she was a in-house, not babysitter, like a guardian or whatever. She was like watching these teen girls, but in Big Beverly Hills or something, and they were like super. I can't use English anymore. If you're gonna host a podcast, learn how to talk. They are very entitled kids who are very spoiled. That's why the show is called Privilege. So she is like a regular person who's just trying to make money by watching watching these kids. And she's just so. I used to do like TV blog writing, like reviews, and that was the first time I'd ever been introduced to her. And I was like, oh my god, she's amazing. And I started following her through her career. And Bubbles mentions in the chat that she was also in the Reba TV show. Absolutely true, and she's absolutely fantastic in that. She's really, really funny. Anyway, love her casting. So in this flashback, Ariel's got a knife to Hook's throat, and she's like all feisty, and she's like, "You're gonna tell me where Eric is," and blah blah blah. And so she's like, "You must have kidnapped him." And this is what Hook's line is, which is hilarious to me. He goes, "Yeah, kidnapping a prince feels like something I would do, but I didn't." And I love that this is like we just watched him be kind of good and like, send this call girl away and not defile her or whatever. And then he gets held up and they're like, "You kidnapped my boyfriend or my prince or whatever." And he's like, "That sounds like something I would do because, pirate, but I didn't, by the way." It's just a really good piece of writing. And I love that, she goes into this big story about, oh, well, the only thing that I was able to get away with when I, was on the ship or whatever was this dagger that I'm holding against your throat right now. And he goes and looks at the ladder or the dagger, and it has this big BB on it. So basically this dagger conveniently has like an address for them to go track down. It's Blackbeard's. It's just this funny, like, oh, here's who I have to talk to. It's just a knife, but it just so happens to tell them where to go. So it's BB, right? It's Blackbeard that they have to go chase down, who has now commandeered, if you will, the Jolly Rodger. My next bullet says I really need to go find out what this rat backstory is for Smee, because they keep talking about the fact that he used to be. I thought it was just like a metaphor or something, but no, he really apparently he said something when he came back like, "I was dreaming of cheese," and I'm like, I really need to understand what this whole rat thing they're talking about is. And then they started talking to each other about the ship. Like he's referring to the ship as like a she and a maiden and whatever. And then like Smee is all like concerned and questioning, like, "You talk about the ship as if it's a woman." And I wrote like, surely Hook is not the first person ever to refer to the ships as females. Like literally the Royal Navies and stuff talk like that. It's not that weird, but there's a running, I want to call it, because to me it's comedy. There's a running gag in this where they just keep doubling down on the fact that he's, referring to the ship as a woman, as a girl, as his lady, and all this stuff. And to me, I'm like, this is perfectly normal, but all the characters in the show have apparently never heard that before. So yeah, there's a couple more references later on in the show where they talk about that. Ariel reciting the pirate code. She says, "Nope, you're going to take me with you." And she recites all this code. It's really giving me parlay vibes from Pirates of the Caribbean, where she's like, "Haha, parlay, I know your code." I don't know. And that's one of my like favorite movies, adventure movies and Disney movies. So when I got a little warm feeling from that. Now we're back in Granny's, and listen, guys, you're gonna be sick of me. I wrote again like, oh, I really miss Granny's. I miss these. I miss everything, honestly. And then I'm piecing it together now, right? Oh yeah, Hook remembers, but Ariel does not. So I guess like people who were affected by the curse don't remember, but people who were not affected by Zelina's new curse remember their past, and they're all living in the same spot. So some people remember and some people don't. So I wrote like, this is awkward. It's like seeing your ex, boy or girlfriend, but they have amnesia. So like, but they don't. And it's really awkward. So she's basically imploring them to help find Eric. So they at least remember that they were fairy tale characters, but they don't remember, I think, becoming part of. They were fairy tale characters who were in Storybook thinking they were real people. Then they remembered that they were fairy tale characters, but they were in Storybook. And now they remember that they were fairy tale characters, but not the time that they had in Storybook. I'm assuming it's something close to that. What the stupid curse is. So that's the end of the act 2. And because of all of the weird, the ship is a woman thing, I put Act 2, Hook and his ship need some alone time. That's how we're calling Act 2. Okay. So far, so good. Let's check. Recording. Still recording. Yes. We're streaming. Yes. Great. Everything's wonderful. Thank you for checking in with me, chat and podcast. Act 3. We are in Regina's crypt, and this is Steph in the chat loves the alone time joke. Thank you for my bad humor. We're back. So Emma, as you recall, is asking Regina to teach her magic. So Regina says, great, let's go in the middle of the night. Let's go like to the crypt where my mom kept all the spells or whatever. Regina says, don't touch anything. The very next thing to happen is Emma picks something up and is touching something. We're in a sitcom. Let's be honest. We're in this is Seinfeld. This is this is like when Kramer walks through the door and we do this. Yeah. Like, this is, we're in a sitcom. Okay. That's exactly. So Regina's really spicy about Hook being keen on Emma. She's like, we see the puppy eyes that you guys are giving each other a mirror, and they're like, no, we don't. I love this like kind of teen love that they have going on. I truly, honestly love that. And then Regina recites the second only to her own line in the first act. It's the single funniest line in this episode, where she goes. Emma opens up. She goes, "We're gonna learn from this book." She opens up the book. She says, "Are you kidding me? Is this in Spanish?" And Regina goes, "We're not making tapas. We're making magic." And I just about died. It was the funniest thing. And she's like, "No, dummy, it's Elvish." And I was like, "Elvish? What is going on here?" So Regina just straight up cracks me up. And I wrote, I need that on a shirt. We're not making tapas. We're making magic. So if I ever decide to bring the merch shop back, I'm just saying out loud, you can't steal it. You can't take it from me. I'm making the tapas shirt. That's what's happening. I said it on the radio. You can't steal my ideas now. Okay, so I wrote, is Elvish a thing in this canon? Is it the same? Like, is that, do elves also exist? Is Legolas like out there somewhere? Like, that's kind of a cool, I think it's cool with like this reading connection of the fairy tale vibes. Those are also fairy tale characters. So it would be kind of cool to know that, you know, like Gandalf can come hang with he has magic. Like, I don't know. I wrote Regina is a wild teacher, but I'm kind of feeling it. So she's in this crypt with her, just doing the most, being cuckoo. We're now back in oh my goodness, somebody has entered the chat. It's crazy. Everyone crazy's here. Twerking emojis in the chat. These are my Twitch friends, podcast friends. Crazy, we're recording a podcast live on the air, and I don't know which one to talk to because I'm making this up as I go. So that's how we're rolling. But thank you for joining us. I really appreciate that. This is Once Upon a Time that we're doing here, and we're just going through all the acts one at a time. Thank you so much for saying I sound great. I appreciate it. I need a little bit of validation in my life, and I appreciate you for granting that to me. So you get another round of applause. That's what you're doing. All right, so mid-act 3, what we're doing is we're back at Granny's, and we have a classic bro code violation. Horrible. David's about to blow up Hook's spot. Hook clearly knows what's going on with Ariel, and we don't know why, but since he does, we were like, David, stop poking this guy because you're going to blow up his spot. And he has to try and like wiggle his way out of it. So he pulls him to the side and is like, you know, he's dead, right? And we're like, whoa, is that even true? Like, we don't have any idea. And then we immediately snap into a flashback, which I'm like, first of all, I'm already getting jet lag or like whiplash. So I'm like, what is happening? So now we're in the Forbidden Forest. And I love that like Ariel and Hook are bonding about being like water people. Like she's a mermaid and he's a pirate. And so they're like, yeah, being on the ocean is the best and being on land sucks. And right. But we get this little reality check where she, you know, gets her cloak caught in on some twig or something. And, he just grabs his hook and like slashes it and she goes free. And she's all mad about the cloak because the cloak was Eric's and it's like the last thing that she has of his. But Hook gives her this reality check to be like, by the way, we're probably going to die when we go try and get this shit back. If you're lucky enough to survive, if your cloak be having a little slit in it is the worst thing that happened to us, I think we're going to be in pretty good shape. Which I love that reality check comes from Hook because it just looks like the last person you'd expect to be giving advice. And then I love that she's, you know, like, oh, you're going to be like a hero. And, you know, or he's talking about his past in being this hero. And he's ashamed of it. It's so funny that he's just doesn't want to talk about these nice things he did because he doesn't want to sound soft. And Ariel's response was, look at the unexpected things that happen. I have legs and I fell in love with a human. So you really just don't know what's going to happen. The writing in this episode, I know it was David Goodman, but the writing in this episode is just fantastic, which is expected because the executive producer is the one who wrote it. So then we get to, where are we? Hook is trying to be hard. Hook trying hard to be bad, but it's not sticking. I don't remember what that was even about, honestly. I'm sure it was important at the time, but not right now. Still trying to figure out this weird timeline is the next thing that I wrote, which because I mean, honestly, with them talking, this is 9 months earlier, but I can't tell by the context of what they're talking about, whether or not they're in a specific, like who remembers what and what has happened already. So again, we're going to have to figure that out. Now we're all of a sudden in Gold Shop, which I also haven't seen in a long time. Then we run into our favorite Belle, my baby Belle. I just keep forgetting how extreme her Australian accent is. I love her to death, but he's just so much sometimes. I love that like Hook immediately finds his periscope just specifically so that he could open it up and just start looking around the room just so we have the optics of this guy as a pirate. Like using his periscope inside of a closed room, like not far away. And then he immediately finds the cloak that we were just talking about in the last scene. And I stopped and I was like, this is absolutely excellent writing. Making the previous scene use this like really innocuous small thing to basically prove a point, but then make that small thing a really big thing later, like because the cloak wasn't really the point. The point was you're kind of focusing on the wrong thing, right? You're essentially trivializing, or you're over dramatizing this thing that really is trivial because we're in a life or death situation and you're worried about like the stitching on your clothes. And so the cloak wasn't really the point, but we saw all the details. He periscopes over and sees the medallion that's in the middle of the coat, which we just recognized from the last scene, which that I love, like you're not making it explicit that this cloak is going to mean anything, but then in the very next episode, they pay it off right away. That is really, really good writing that keeps you on your toes. That means you're going to have to pay attention in every single scene to make sure that you don't miss anything or that you are actually following along because you never know when that thing is going to then become important soon. So yeah, I really just loved this kind of writing style of a sort of misdirection in general. That is the end of Act 3, and you guessed it, the title of Act 3, We're Not Making Tapas. That's going to be Act 3's title. The next act, Act 4, we have 6 acts, so we're getting there, we're halfway through. We have a scene on the bridge. There's a big, not a drawbridge, like a rope bridge, an old rope bridge. And so Emma is just standing out on this rope bridge, holding onto the ropes. And my first note here says, Emma is being terrorized by Regina's teaching methods. She's just out here like, you could stop this. You have magic. Why don't you stop it? I was like, oh God, Regina. So insane. So she goes, stop what? And she says this, and then starts to pull the bridge apart. The floorboards are flying all over the place. This is very like traumatic and very drama filled. Emma's now dangling. The rope starts to come apart, and then Emma just falls. And we're like, great, end of the episode. Emma's now dead. Show over. Right? But then Emma mysteriously floats up to where Regina's standing at the top on a bunch of random like floorboard, like all the floorboards that got pulled apart. She's just floating up on them onto the top. And I found it hilarious that Regina was like, all I wanted you to do was just tie the ropes back together. You didn't have to do all this, which is really, really funny. But she was mad because of all this potential that she had inside that she was wasting. And that to me felt a little bit like foretelling. Like Regina's like, oh, you have all this potential. And like, are we going to see this potential? I mean, spoilers. Yes, I already know this because I've seen the show before, but like that was really fun. And this is the moment where I'd like to go back to production notes. So in this Act 4, one of the abandoned ideas for this scene, when she falls from the bridge and she levitates herself back up, it was originally written as 2 separate scenes. The first one was going to end with Emma falling, and then it cut to a different thing, which is absolutely great cliffhanger, right, type of editing. And then in the second scene, she was going to like levitate herself back up. And this ended up being chopped together and edited into a single scene in post-production because TV's snappy. It was going to take too long to kind of resolve it. And we're already going back and forth with the flashback. So they kind of decided to cut it into one scene. Originally, though, Emma was supposed to, wait for this, how insane this is. Emma was supposed to conjure a magical dragon to lift herself up from the gorge. Excuse me? A dragon feels so much. And apparently I'm not the only one who thought that way. Apparently everyone thought that was pushing the character just too far in terms of her like magical ability. She's like learning, but all of a sudden she can conjure a full-fledged dragon out of thin air. So it ended up being changed to Emma using vines to levitate herself up. After that, the showmakers, and this is an unhinged request, the showmakers then decided, just let the VFX people create something. Just create something for us, whatever you guys want. I'm like, what? You just went in there and said, hey, she needs to levitate, make it up. Like, that's absolutely crazy work to just walk in there and be like, no plan, just whatever. And so that's what the VFX, the visual effects department came up with, is that they took all the boards that had fallen away and made this like misshapen platform that she could just fall her way up, have to levitate her way up from. What I like about that, though, is that it shows how crafty she is, because one of the things that Emma says is like, why are you pissed that I didn't put the rope back together? I didn't do it your way. The point is I did it. And that's kind of really Emma's style, is she's not like traditional magic, so she won't take that forward approach, but she's going to get the job done. When that's the real, meat and potatoes of it, is that she cleverly used what was around her and she made it happen. So, I think that maybe that was an accident and that was just the VFX, people just did whatever they could do in that amount of time. But frankly, I think that was actually a really cool result that informs how cool her character is or could possibly be. So that's just my take on it. Anyway, I'd love to know what you guys think. And I'll tell you how to, write into the show later. Okay, so now we're back in the shop. Belle sprinkles some weird magic juju on the cloak, and she's like, it's a spell that will take you there, whatever. It doesn't matter. And then it turns into just Doctor Strange's cloak. Like, it's straight up Doctor Strange's cloak. You cannot convince me that. In fact, I feel like it did what it did in the episode, and then it like left Storybrooke and became Doctor Strange's cloak. You know what I mean? Because it's like floating away, and it's supposed to basically like lead them to the last place that Eric might have been or whatever. So we just see it fly out of the room, and then it cuts to another flashback. So now we're at the Jolly Rodger. Okay. Everyone is still making fun of Hook for loving his boat too much. Seems a little weird. We're all like, he's like, oh, she's right there, and I can't wait to be on her again or whatever. And they're all like, you really are. Like, that's why I think that Hook and the ship need some alone time. So he stages a reverse heist, right, to steal his own ship back. And this is the first time that we're now seeing Blackbeard, Mr. Charles Measure, or Measure, depending on how you announce it. Our lost Brian Shannon sleazy boyfriend. So, what's funny? I'm just going to take a pause for a second because my wife is on her way home and she is texting me to figure out dinner. And I believe the last episode, because I listened to part of it that we aired, she also FaceTimed during the episode. And I put her on the air because I'm crazy. And it was really funny. And now here she is again. Everyone say hi, say hello, even though she can't hear you. I know you're saying hi to your radio because you're all amazing. I'm going to tell her what I want for dinner because I can't talk and type at the same time. I don't know. What do you guys want for dinner? Anybody want anything? Look, Zaffronica says hello. Littles and me says hello. Bubble says hi, Taryn. So Taryn, if you listen to this episode, here are all the people that are saying hello to you. What do I want, guys? Do I want McDonald's? Do I want chicken? What do I want? I'm going to say McDonald's or something. That's nice and broad. She'll figure that out. Burgers. Bubbles votes for burgers. This has just devolved into insanity. I don't know what Chinese. That's a good one. Ooh, you know what? I'm going to tell her that. What about Chinese? ? She's going to be like, what about it? I'm so weird. Okay, enough of that. Juju, Jolly Rodger. We now see Blackbeard for the first time. We get a just chef's kiss, delightful little sword fight. That honestly is kind of giving me the reverse version of Pan fighting Hook on his own, this very ship, the Jolly Rodger, right? it's like this fun, like he basically jumps onto the boat and is fighting the captain of the ship. I was like, you're kind of Peter Panning it right now. And specifically in like Hook, like it's like Robin Williams, like as Pan and Dustin Hoffman, you know, like, I don't know. I was getting good vibes here. The sequence is just so fun. Again, they all get weird about the ship, like this, like a girlfriend that they're fighting over. Like, she belongs to me. It's just funny that they are like leaning into this so much. But I love that Hook knows the ship so well that it came down to a single floorboard that he knew was loose. And he's like, well, if you knew her so well, then you'd know not to stand there. And then he falls through a floorboard and gets stuck. Like, I just like the attention to detail here that he really does know this ship. Like, this is really kind of it's almost an extension of him. Which is always fun just to have that level of mastery, right, from a character, not just in like skills and sword fighting and stuff, but also, you know, the ship is also his partner almost, right? So I always get the it being a partner. I mean, also, like, I'm a Doctor Who fan. I don't know if any of you out there are Doctor Who fans. We should definitely talk about them in Discord if you are, because I'm a huge Doctor Who fan. And that was a whole big thing about the TARDIS, that he refers to the TARDIS as a woman, to the point where there's an episode where the soul of the TARDIS like comes out and it's a woman, and they like are physically in the same space for the first time, which is like really tense and very cool, because he's like quote unquote flirting with the TARDIS the whole time. So like, your ship being your woman is not strange. So it's like kind of a reverse Pan thing. They get all weird about the ship. He knows the ship so well that it comes down to a single floorboard. And now we have truly the high stakes, because Blackbeard then says, I know where Prince Eric is. If you want him back, you have to relinquish the ship to me for real. So the Jolly Roger's mine and you get Eric back, or you know, he dies basically with me, or if you kill me now or you send me off the plank or whatever, then you'll never find out where he is. So those are the stakes. So, and that's about right. That the climax usually happens like at the middle, and we're right there, just past halfway point, where we're like, oh shoot, like what is Hook gonna do? And so we go really quick before we change acts. We go back to Storybrooke, where the cloak is still flying away, Doctor Strange style. It lands on the water in this just absolutely fabulous piece of CGI of this thing flying around and then gently falling in the water, and then the ripple. I'm actually curious as to whether it's 100% CGI or if it's like a practical thing with like fishing line or something like that. But it sits there for a second, and then it just gets sucked under the water and gone. And so I was like, oh shoot, is Hook right? Is Eric dead? Like, was he drowned? Like, what's going on? And you know, we of course will find out later that is not the whole story, but this is the cliffhanger where Act 5 ends. Maybe I'm going to use the bell instead of calling production notes. It'll be like the end of a round. It's the end of the acts. So now that's the end of the act. You'll be happy to know that my title here is the Doctor Strange Cloak origin story. Is Act 4 of episode 17 is, we learn how the cloak becomes a thing. Now we're in Act 5. Act 5 is the longest one of the whole thing. And it's because it's when we find out the twist. So we're with David and Mary. These two are still worried about whether Henry likes them. Still funny to me. Because again, I'm imagining Judy Hopps just being like, I'm not fun enough. I love it. I really do love it. As far as legality, so they basically what's happening is Henry is sitting in the driver's seat of the truck, and Mary walks up on them and is like, you're like taking him driving, like he's gonna go drive the truck. And she's like, this is super unsafe and also like illegal. And David goes, as far as legality, I'm the sheriff. And I was like, whoa, abuse of power. Hold on here. This is a little irresponsible, I think. So I was like, oh, I see what's happening. He and Henry are stealing a car? What? So he's just like trying to one-up crimes with Hook. Hook stole that boat, so like might as well steal this car. And he's like, that's not the same. And then they immediately crash into everything. Mailbox, like almost crash into a car. It's just absolute. It plays out like a cartoon. This feels like a Looney Tunes cartoon, and I'm not upset about it. Honestly, I really actually think it's really funny. So we go back to the dock where the Jolly Roger was. No, sorry. This is the dock in Storybrooke where the cloak fell and they're looking for Eric. And she's really sad. And Hook is trying to make her feel better. And Hook says, a sailor couldn't hope for a better resting place. And it's actually really sweet. I liked the fact that they were bonding over being water creatures, right? I do feel this connection between them because he's a pirate and she's a mermaid. And they're both, they both like ocean folks. And for truly a pirate, they're like that's your place where you feel the most comfortable. And then she says, I wish I knew how it ended. And I wrote, because I'm sure Hook knows or something, because clearly he's being really suspicious. And then she says the line that just is a dagger in his heart, right? She's laying it on thick. You're more than a pirate, Hook. You have a true heart. And you can see he's just breaking. You know what I mean? He is like, honestly, can't handle this. And I love the fact that this feels like this really good redemption arc, right? He's like really, really trying. So we then, excellent editing, excellent writing. We snap back to the Jolly Roger. We immediately see Hook doing the exact wrong thing in almost cartoonish style. We go, bum, bum, bum. What is he going to do? Eric's life or the ship? And he's like, obviously the ship. We always see is Blackbeard on the plank. And he's like, nope, it felt like an actual comedy gag. They were like, obviously I'm going to kill this dork because like, I don't care about this Eric guy. And so he has his sword on Blackbeard and like, Ariel is really mad. She's like, Hook, you hate, or Hook is telling her that love is going to get you nowhere, but I'm getting this ship back. And that, it's not going to do anything for you. It's just going to cause you pain. So then Blackbeard walks the plank. He pushes him over. And then here's the slap. Ariel slaps the bejesus out of him and is like, you're the worst. You have no heart. You're not true. And it's the total exact opposite of this like sweet, declaration of how wonderful it is that he was helping her in stories. Total opposite. He's like a scoundrel, right? So she immediately goes, I'm going to go get him. She dives in. And I wrote, until this moment, I 100% forgot she was a mermaid. I straight up forgot. I was like, oh shoot, she's just going to dive in the water. Oh yeah, that's right. She's like an actual mermaid. We've been talking about this whole time. I'm a dummy. So then this is the crazy part. We now snap back again. The cuts are happening faster. We're spending less time in each area. Now we're at present day. Hook feels bad. And so we have good Hook. Then we have bad Hook. Then we have, you know what? Hook is going to be extra good. He then comes clean. I wrote, anxiety, period. Because I'm like, what is going to happen? He comes clean and tells her, I actually do have memories of this. Eric was a prisoner and I'm responsible for him being lost. I don't know where. I didn't know he was marooned on an island somewhere, Hangman's Island. But I chose my ship over Eric. And then she slaps him again. Good on you, girl. And I think this is the slap that she couldn't do right. It was really funny to watch these slaps play out, especially when we were looking at the production notes. So I just wrote, this is great writing. This feels so pure. Colin O'Donoghue does this really wonderful job pouring his heart out, right? And it's just and he very much looks like he's trying to redeem himself. And I love me a good redemption arc. I'll tell you that right now. And I was like, something is off. And so she's like, that woman that broke your heart, do you still love her? Swear to me on her name. And he's breaking down and he says, I swear on Emma Swan. And the look on her face that just immediately turned to the smile. And I was like, Ariel's a witch? What's going on? This look when she turns is just amazing. Oh my God, it has been Zelina the entire time. Zelina? What? I mean, listen. So Ariel was never there. Ariel apparently found Eric and just lived happily ever after and everything was fine. And because she was out there living happily ever after, Zelina came here and took her place. And she says this line, don't you just love a good twist? And I was like, yep, again, claps all over. I mean, she is just such a villain, such a good villain too. And so when he says her name, she curses him, curses his lips. So if Hook kisses Emma, it will take away Emma's magic. Ooh, excellent excellent stakes. This is dark. It's so good. And then here, it falls apart a little bit as a TV show, right? So Hook then immediately figures out her intentions. And I actually love that because to me, it played out as a takes a villain to no one, right? Like he knows what being a scoundrel is like. So he's able to call this out a million miles away. He basically lays out her plan and the stakes are really high. But the problem is Zelina then and he calls her out on the fact that clearly she can't kill Emma because Emma's got magic stuff. She needs Emma to lose her magic. And so Hook immediately clocks that she has a weakness. And while she doesn't back down, it starts to open up some vulnerabilities in Zelina because it's not a foolproof plan as a villain that she has. There's a little bit of an unstable emotion that she's got that makes her kind of weak and not a strong adversary because her emotion gets the best of her, right? So basically she says, I can't touch Emma, you're right, but I can hurt all the people around her. So you go and because I was like, you're not like hypnotizing him or forcing him to go in against his will to go kiss Emma. And then I'm like, you're also not adding on to the curse that if he tells her that he's cursed, something bad will happen. So I'm like, what's just keeping him from, and the Hook in fact says this, he goes, I'll just tell her and she'll defeat you. And she's like, she can't defeat me. So he now knows that while she can't defeat her, Zelina can't defeat Emma if she's got the magic and she's got protection. So he just goes, okay, I'll figure it out. Zelina says, I will hurt everyone around her, the little kid, Henry, all of her family members. So you go kiss her and take away her magic or else I'm going to hurt everybody. And I was like, now you just sound whiny. Girl, you had the whole upper hand. You could have dastardly, right? And she just chose to make it like this, like, do what I say or else. And I was like, girl, no. And I think that's by intention, right? Zelina is not a carefully crafted master villain. She is hurt, and that hurt is a little bit of a weakness and a pain for her. I think it gives a lot of power to the heroes to be able to defeat her or at least fortify themselves. There's no reason why he couldn't just go back and tell Emma and immediately, start to form a plan as to how they're going to defeat her. So as the end of Act 5, this one is called Don't You Just Love a Good Twist? That is the Act 5 title. So now we're in our last act, Act 6. I'm like Emma's house, David's house, whoever the hell's house this is. I'm not sure why Hook is not just telling them the truth. And I think this is because I don't get who knows what and what they're allowed to talk about and all that kind of stuff, right? So the entire time, Regina's zingers about Ariel, she hates Ariel, and she's just like, oh, the way she is, she might have, I bet you she swam there really fast. She's just the whole time sitting in the corner, just like an angry black woman, just saying the worst stuff about Ariel for no reason. It's just not, it's kind of just mean and funny. So once again, Hook is about to be found out on his lie or on his, secrets or whatever. And then, so they're basically like, oh, why don't we check up on Ariel to see what happened? And Hook's like, no, you don't have to. I'm sure it's fine. And Regina throws him a look real quick. And I went, does Regina know? These looks are loaded, And so they walk up to a mirror and she's like, okay, Emma, you know how to do magic now, apparently. So, she's like, you gotta conjure this energy in yourself or whatever. And I'm just like, she's just genuinely excited that she's teaching Emma how to be a baddie like her. I kind of am here for it. It just, I don't know. I really like it. I like the whole thing. Then they're all like, oh my God, Hook, you're the one who made this happen. Ariel and Eric are back together. You're such a hero. And Era just eye bangs the crap out of him, right? She's just looking him up and down. And she's like, you're so modest for not wanting to be a hero. And I'm like, God, this is going to end so poorly. So Hook takes all this fake credit, right? The three Stooges come home. Mary and David and Henry come home. They loudly announce this secret and very illegal thing they did by having Henry not only drive around town unlicensed, but break up the town. And Regina's like, wait, what? You did what? What's going on? She holds herself back and is like, I'm the mayor and I can't have any unlicensed people driving if I'm the mayor. It was like a really cool, like, I liked watching her be so reserved about it. It felt like a really controlled. You know how Emma in the beginning was wilding out in the first couple seasons, trying to maintain all this control. I love seeing like really equalized, refined, controlled Regina. It's this opposite, them being sisters, Regina and Zelina, of Regina being very controlled and very, kind of in command and powerful, whereas Zelina's flailing a little bit, and you see the weakness because of that. So yeah, I just absolutely love Regina kind of navigating this space. But then David's like so weird about bragging. He's like, I'm a cool grandpa. I'm fun. I could be spontaneous. I'm like, dude, stop. This is just like, this is getting embarrassing now. Please stop it. Mary calls Hook Killian. I forgot that was his name. I went, what? Again, getting all the feels back, getting back into this world. Then Emma says that she checked in on them, on Skype, and I was like, oh my God, dated, first of all. I was like, do they not know about Emma's magic? I'm confused, because in the first scene, she had said, Regina, why don't you teach me magic in front of them? So like, I cannot figure out what they do and don't know, because they were like, you're hiding some weird stuff that should be not a problem. So she checked in on Skype. It was just a weird reference. So everybody's just like so happy about this happy ending that we're getting to have, right? Which I really think is super sweet. Guinea is just with her beauty, and like, of course she's glowing because she's pregnant. So she's got this like beautiful smile, and she's like, oh, this is so great. And like some good news coming down. Of course, we know it's going to like be really bad. So Hook's hand here is where it's behind his back so Henry doesn't see. But I was like, also in the other scene in the dock, you had a glove. Like, you had a hand. Like, I don't know. Emma is now trying to make closure, right? She says that whatever happened in that year, never mind. I don't want to know anymore. And so she's really trying to open up, but she can definitely tell that Hook is hurt. They all can kind of tell. And I think that's really, really great tension in the drama. It makes the audience care about the journey that he is taking, trying to be a good guy and, but like not always doing the right thing, but wanting to do the right thing. It was just, and then the very last scene of the episode, I had a really good laugh at Hook pulling his periscope out so that he could like look at Emma through the window or something as the final sort of tableau at the end of the episode. But that is the end of Act 6, and that act is called Skype is the rotary phone equivalent of teleconferencing references, which is a very weird reference. And that's the end of the episode. Oh man, we made it. We made it. Hour and a half later, here we are. It looks like the sound effects are not all coming through. You heard the buzzer. Thanks. Okay, so yeah, the chat in the stream is telling me that sound effects aren't necessarily coming through the stream, so we'll definitely fix that. I hope to God that they are being recorded though, because if they are not, that will be a problem. Since all these awkward moments that I'm having, like trying to put these in there. Let's see. Tracks. I might be able to fix it. Nope, can't do it because the recording got messed up. We'll figure it out later. All right. So the thing that we do at this point in the show, but first of all, Steph, thank you for letting me know. I will make sure that is fixed for the next show. We do awards now. Okay. So as a group, all of us, homework. Here's what we're going to do. MVPs and LVPs of both Storybrooke and the Enchanted Forest. My MVP of Storybrooke is Regina for being a baddie, unhinged, and insane. I love her so much. She made me laugh. She made me laugh more. I think she's doing a really good job keeping this group together, and she's not losing her cool when she could. In the Enchanted Forest side, I think the MVP is probably Ariel, I believe, for like, she is the most stable character. She knows what she wants. She's being really assertive and trying to get to it. So I feel like she was the most driven. She didn't waver on her her issues, right? She stood fast. So MVP is going to be Regina and Ariel for those two. Let's talk about LVPs. Of Storybrooke, I say that the LVP is Ariel / Zelina, because it's not really Ariel, right? Is Zelina, because I have to, because she's a vile villain and she just is putting them through so much. And while it is LVP, I don't hate it, honestly, because it's kind of hard because like you're the LVP because you have to be, but like you're almost the MVP for being a good villain, to be honest. But like, I don't know. It just, you're not really the least valuable though. You're still valuable. I don't think anybody was the LVP, honestly. I think everybody did a really good job. But of the Enchanted Forest, I had a hard time with LVPs in general because the Enchanted Forest I put in, it can't be Hook. I'm not really sure. Like Hook did the thing that you expect Hook to do. Like that's like, Hook is a scoundrel. Like of course he'd made that choice. So I'm not gonna make him the least valuable player. He did what I would expect. So I maybe nobody. I don't know. LVP is going to be undetermined. For honorable mention, I like always saying, let's do an honorable mention overall because, you know, sometimes it's not an LVP MVP situation. It's like a character or anybody or, you know, actor. I'm going to say is two people. It's Emma for mastering her magic. I think she did a great job. She's getting it. And Hook for trying to do the right thing, but more importantly, for being flawed. You know what I mean? He is genuinely trying to be a good guy, and you can see that, you can tell, and it's conflicting in him. But he's not a perfect paragon, right? He had the opportunity to tell them, and he didn't lie, but this is kind of a liable mission. So he's really flipping back and forth. But I love the fact that at his heart, his character really is trying to be good and isn't perfect. And I think that's a really great example that the act of being a good guy isn't always black and white. And so I think that deserves an honorable mention. And then lastly, outstanding performance for the same reason, actor Colin O'Donoghue. Ladies and gentlemen, and friends of all kinds, Colin O'Donoghue and Hook. Honorable mention for the whole thing. You can always see Hook's inner struggle. Agreed 100%, says Steph from the chat. I agree. And that's actually, if I had to say who's my favorite character on this show, Hook, at least in this part of the journey, I really do think Hook is probably one of them, if not the guy. I love this part of the show too, where we get to do a rating out of 5 in a special section, special award ceremony, the end of the awards, if you will. Here we are. This is the 3rd annual Mr. Gold's Gold Star in the Field of Excellence. The return, in fact, of the 3rd annual Mr. Gold's Gold Star in the Field of Excellence. What do you all give this episode? What do you think? Because, shout it out. I'm sure I can hear you if you shout loud enough. I give this episode 5 stars, guys. This is a 5-star episode for me. I enjoyed every bit of it. I enjoyed it so much. And I'm coming back from not having been there for a while.
Going back to claim the
Nope, didn't mean to do that. Guys, I'm good at this, I swear. I'm coming back to it after a really long time. And I have I don't have no notes. I do have some notes, but none of those notes knocked it enough for it to be knocked a whole point down, or even a percentage of a point down. Maybe it's, call it my nostalgia, call it me going back to my love of this show. But frankly, I think 5 stars, no defense. That's where we're going to be. It's going to be 5 stars. I hope you guys agree. Bubbles says, I'm going to have to watch the episode like you to be able to help rate things. I hope all of you watch the episode and help rate. I think it would be fun. If you happen to join me on the Twitch, in the chat, we can shout the ratings out there. There's endless possibilities, truly. And now we're going to take a brief pause so I can tell my wife what I want for dinner. Hold, please. We're doing chicken, by the way, in case anybody wondered. I know you wanted to know. All right, so we will now look at the promo for the next episode so we can be prepared if you guys would like to be prepared for the next episode. Once Upon a Time, Season 3, Episode 18. This is called Bleeding Through. Here we go.
Going back to claim the life that I deserved.
ABC next Sunday. To crush a curse,
Planning on going back in time.
they must raise the dead.
We have to talk to my mother.
But getting help from the afterlife
What's that? I have no idea.
could prove to be a deadly mistake. New Once Upon a Time. Next Sunday, 8/7 Central on ABC.
Oh, man. Okay. So we're going to now see, first of all, we have to talk to Regina's dead mother to get where they need to go. Also, this like movie trailer voice guy, I mean, so dramatic, which I really like. I don't know. I'm excited for that. I think it's going to be fun. I that looked really tense and high stakes, which are all things I love in episodes. So I think it's going to be awesome. I hope you guys will join me on episode 18, since I just now got to the end of an episode coming back to Storybook Circus, y'all. This is pretty crazy. Here we are. This is wild. It feels so weird being back in this chair, being, talking to you guys again, but I really missed you, and I'm really pumped to be back. If you came through this journey with me, if you've lasted this long, I truly and genuinely appreciate every single one of you. And I don't know if this is going to work. I hope that just listening to me talk to myself was not boring. The only way to know is to put it out, and we'll see. And so I'm going to do the thing that I always do at the end of an episode, which is to play our outro music together. Here we are. Yeah, Saturday Night Live. Just off the vibes. Seriously, thank you guys so much. Bubbles just said in the chat, I'm so glad I talked you into doing this live. I am glad you talked me into doing this live too, because this actually, I don't know if you had fun, but I had fun. This was really great for me. All right, so here's what we're going to do. thesbcpod@gmail.com, still live. If you would like to send in any emails about anything, we're going to start there. If we end up reintroducing the Storybook Daily Mirror to do some voicemails and chats, I can start up a new number and do that stuff. You guys let me know what you want to see. Let me know if the episode was exciting, if you have any suggestions for the future, thesbcpod@gmail.com. But also what will be in the bio, and it has been the same since episode 1, is our Discord. This is a community of other brookies and myself that all love this show, love each other. There's places to have screen time and do photos, and there's reels, and we have grannies in there, and Belle's Bookshop. We're reviving the whole thing. So I want to see you guys talking in the chat. I'm really excited when I get to release this tomorrow on Halloween. I hope you guys are really pumped. Make that Discord the party that it once was. And also, if you catch me on a future recording, twitch.tv/Mackie Mouse Media is where you're going to find me there if you want to participate in the chat that I clearly am talking to live. So I think it'd be really fun to have a bunch of people in there. It's a totally different experience from the podcast world. So join me on twitch.tv/Mackie Mouse Media. And until next time, all magic comes with a price. And all shows come with a podcast. So I will see you in the Enchanted Forest, everybody. Take care. Bye.